I mean, I might have to talk a little faster. Now, in the oil and gas industry, um, there are various operations that are undertaken. All right. Now, as a result of these various operations, you discover that some of them can be carried out by the companies, but not all of them can be carried out by by the companies that are that are involved in this operation. So, what does this mean? There is need to also contract out some services, to give out some services to be done by other companies who are professionals in that area. All right, this is what I'm trying to say. For instance, now let me use a basic office. The office, for instance, sometimes some large organizations have to engage a janitor service, as a cleaning service, a cleaning company. Some, like banks, some banks, they engage security companies. All right, those are contracts that are given out. So services that are contracted to other organizations to handle. All right. Now, but in doing this, like in the oil and gas industry, we have a whole lot of them. There are some organizations who are specially involved in what we call EPCM or EPCI, that's engineering, procurement, project management, or project and installation. That's EPCM or EPCI. And these organizations will be, or companies are contracted different services within the confines of their operations. All right. Now, there might be some organizations that are very good in fabrication of pipeline of vessels, and also in the installation of these vessels, but they may not be able to handle civil aspects when it comes to civil construction. When I mean civil, like involving buildings, erection of structures that are that will involve bricks and the rest of them, and reinforcement. Okay, so they will also have to contract other companies. So when they are given a project or a service to handle, they will end up also contracting a third party contractor, which now becomes like a subcontractor. However, in contracting or in contraction and contract management, you must ensure that all parties understand the rules of engagement of the primary company, which is the client in this case. This is what I'm trying to say. Maybe, for instance, it may not be the same company that would be carrying out a construction of some or erection, fabrication and installation of pipelines in their um, offshore location, that might be handling their tank farm. All right. Some might be even handling both onshore and offshore locations and the rest of them. Different organizations will be contracted at different times to handle um, these services for them. All right. So, what do they? What must they ensure? They must also ensure that the contracting companies understand or have all necessary compliance requirements, all necessary requirements to be compliant with their service. Now, there's a form we usually call the form G, although a it's like a way of recording the level of compliance or competency of this of the personnel of a contracting company, or a company that is being contracted for a service. Okay, I'll come to that shortly. But before these jobs or these contracts are given to companies, this is what usually happens. Companies will have to register as conventionally. Companies an IOC, for instance. Let me use a case study of an IOC like Mobi or Ajib. They have different services they want to render. But first, different oil companies that have or servicing companies that are engaged in several areas of discipline, they register, they apply to become contractors of these companies. Some of them could have what we call the call of contract or call of contract. Call of contract will mean that anytime there is a job or a project that is within your area of discipline, the IOC, the International Oil Company, will when they make it when they make the offer open, you will also be given the first opportunity to apply for such contracts. Okay. Now, the process of um, application is usually for you to submit your profile, um, put a formal application forward for for such jobs. That okay, yeah, myself, this is what I do, and this is what we can do. This and this and this we can do. So you'll be registered under a particular classification of discipline. That this area is what these companies can do. Now, you may not be certainly you may not be the only company that offers such services. Okay, but it's already there that you are registered for such opportunities that become in that line. So when they have a project, for instance, when the IOC has a project, what did they do? They will break it down into different sections. Okay, this project as a whole, these are the areas it involves. This discipline, this discipline, this discipline. All right. So we are making it open. So they now create a publication which is referred to as a, a, a like they create an opportunity for bidding. You understand? So a request for bid. That's ROF or request for quotation. ROFQ. You must have heard of that term before. ROFQ. ROFQ means request for quotation. Okay. Now, when they do that, when they throw up the request for quotation, then the companies who have been registered with them as contractors can now apply. They have the first privilege of applying for such projects or such contracts. That process of applying is called tendering. That's you are submitting, or you submit what we call a tender. TENDER. Right? That process is called what? Tendering. Okay? The process of the company giving creating publication for their projects is called a request for quotation. RFQ, a request for quotation. So what happens in this case is that companies who have been registered with them in a particular discipline that project is concerned with will be given the privilege to first apply. All right, and they will be considered. Now, in your tender, remember you had earlier submitted your profile and all that to the company. But apart from that, too, you will again have to formally present your profile and some other qualifications to show that you can actually offer this job and you can actually handle this project as a company or as a contractor. All right. Now, you as well as other applicants will also do the same thing. Okay. So you are bidding, that process is called bidding. You are bidding for the what? Project. So in bidding for a project, you submit your tender. Now your tender is divided into two parts. Your tender is the application that you are submitting. Now it is usually divided into two parts. We have a section that is called the technical, then we have the section that is also called the commercial. Now you might not see all this in your material. So we're just talking about real life experience as they were. or as it is. Okay, so you have the technical. The technical is where you show up the technical, um, your technical ability to run this project. In that technical, you are going to have to show your profile, you are going to show your workforce, you are going to show activities you have done before, you're also going to show your safety records, which is very critical because no company will want to engage um, an organization that has a poor safety record. A poor safety record will mean that likely there's going to be more accidents if you are going to be handling their projects, and nobody wants to incur such costs. And we know that accidents can be very very expensive when it occurs. So that is when that is done. When you apply formally for such, then you are going to show. As I said, you're going, the first aspect is what? Your technical. So as you are submitting these are documents, quite a voluminous documentation anyway, where you have to show all this, your safety records, your jobs, previous jobs and projects you've done, the amount, their costs, the time frame you're able to finish them. Then apart from that too, you're also going to now show this a breakdown of how you want to handle the project if you are given the opportunity to handle such contracts. Okay, now you are going to show all this. You are going to show a schedule. Most time you prepare a schedule of how you can finish that project from the point of mobilization to the point of commissioning. Mobilization, I will still have to explain these terms to us, but please pay attention as this is just a discussion. In our next class, we'll be able to go deeper into these areas. All right, hopefully. Okay, so the point of from the point of mobilization to the point of commissioning, you are going to create a schedule to show them that okay, I can achieve it in this time. And most times, the person with the best record time is usually given or it's also considered too, especially when it's a realistic arrangement you have. Okay, now after that, along with all these that will be in your tech, these and lots more make up your technical documentation. Now, when this is submitted within the record time that or within the stipulated time of submission, in reality, backdoor a lot of lobbying also goes on. Okay, a lot of lobbying also goes on, especially in the system we have here in Nigeria. uh Sometimes it's not eventually the person who has the best of it that might be able to do that. That might be considered. So, several factors come into play, but ideally, ideally, what is done if it's a company that if it's an organization that is sincere with their process, what is usually done is that they'll check the IOC, the company that is offering this contract. We check through the technicals, they'll screen the technical um, documents that all applicants or prospective contractors have submitted. They screen them, then they now confirm which ones they have passed that technical phase. All right. Your success in the technical phase means I'm sorry if you can unmute me so I can share the screen of the laptop. I'll appreciate that. The other entry is a system. The one I'm speaking with now is the phone. Please, if you can do that briefly. All right. So, as I was saying, we carry out um, a selection based on the technicals that have been submitted. Now, when that is done, or after that is done, then we have um, these people who have passed. technical aspect will then be able to submit their commercial. Now, the commercial submission means that you are quoting now what it will cost you every line item from from every um, every equipment or device or implement or material that you are going to purchase, the cost, what it will take you, then your workforce, your equipment you are hiring, and all the rest, how you are going to execute your job, everything, including your value added tax. You are going to put all that as a quotation, and submit. Now that is the commercial. So this will now become another level of what now? Screening. Now, while all this is also going on, the company also will carry out an audit. You would have also submitted your audit records along with your technical, both financial audit and safety audit. Okay, and all the management operational audits too. Okay, Mr. Yomi, please, if you can unmute the other system so I can share this screen briefly. It's just about a 3 minute, 2 minutes video. I would also want to play for us or play to us, please, Mr. Yomi. Thank you. Now, we have the submission of the commercial. Okay, the submission of the commercials will now go through another level of what? Screening. Okay, thank you. Another level of screening, which we um, finally help them take a decision on who is going to be presented offered that project. Now, this is accompanied with the audit, the results from their audits that they would have conducted in the facility. This is just an overview of what it looks like in contract. All right, so I'll just give this 3 minutes or 2 minutes video to watch and maybe learn one or two things.
We're going to be covering a number of issues, a number of risks that we repeatedly see in the oil and gas sector, which is a contract that we develop a draft, that we negotiate, and that we manage. And let's see if we can cover some of the key issues that perhaps you might be experiencing, as well as address some of the ways in which you can perhaps best manage those risks. So with that said, let me get into the material a little bit. Managing risk in contracts has always been a challenge for a number of
Okay. All right. So that's a video on contracting. Okay. But Most importantly, there are key areas you should also know that there's a high level what of of negotiation that also goes on in between all this. Okay, a high level of negotiation that goes on in between all this. So, as an organization or as a contracting company,